Welcome to my YouTube channel Bachelor in Master English. Today I have come up with a new topic of discussion. The title of the poem is On the Grasshopper and Cricket. In today's discussion we will have summary, we will have critical appreciation and something beyond that. Okay, first of all, let's see the text. The poem On the Grasshopper and Cricket itself. Here I will be talking about the key points of the poem. Before I begin my discussion, I should like to request you, if you are new to my channel, please subscribe my channel, and if you have anything to say, please let me know through my comment box. Here are key points, 8 key points of the poem. The earth is full of poetry. On summer season, all the birds hide themselves in the cooling shades, but the grasshopper sings in the hot summer season. He enjoys the hot summer season. The poetry of earth never stops. The shrill sound is heard in the very cold winter season. This is the sound of cricket. Even the drowsy person, when he hears the sound, feels it as the grasshopper sound. So these are the key points and something about the poem. Let's see. John Keats' poem On the Grasshopper and Cricket is a fine piece of sonnet written by John Keats in December 1816. The poem was inspired by the beauty of nature, the most common theme among the romantic poets of the 19th century. It is a symbolic poem in which the grasshopper is a symbol of hot summer and the cricket is of very cold winter. Every poet has been attracted towards the beauty of nature. John Keats is no exception to this and finds nature beautiful in all seasons, not excluding the hot summer and cold winter. When John Keats speaks of the grasshopper, he is relating to summer, and with the cricket, he is relating to winter. He is basically saying that nature in all its seasons, in all its manifestations, will always be present. So here is a summary of the poem. To be precise, the poet in his sonnet On the Grasshopper and Cricket celebrates the poetry of earth, the music of nature which is omnipresent. He says that the earth is always singing. When the birds stop singing in the hot summer, finding cool place, we find the grasshopper singing and flying from haze. He sings tirelessly, and when tired, rest beneath some wind. When the birds are silent in very cold, the earth never stops and expresses its pleasure through different beings like the cricket. It sings beautiful songs from the stones. It seems to be increasing in warmth every moment, and half asleep human being feels it to be a grasshopper song coming from grassy hills. Okay, so we have summary, very short summary of the poem. The poem portrays Keats' love of nature and its beauty. The poet draws the picture of two seasons here, the summer season and winter season. In both the seasons, there are two almost limited visible singers. In both the seasons, there are two little, almost invisible singers who keep the scene alive with their melodious singing. In summer, the grasshopper runs from haze to haze and leads the summer's luxury. In winter, the song of the cricket creates warmth in a climate which is generally dull and cool. Stanza-wise summary. And actually, this is a sonnet. It has two parts, octave and sestet. The summary of octave means the lines 1 to 8. During a very hot summer day, all the birds take rest under shady trees. They are tired and stop their twittering and singing because of the heat of the sun. Yet the music of the earth does not come to a halt. The grasshopper goes on moving from haze to haze to another and singing merrily to continue with the music of the earth. It continues to sing, delighting until he is satisfied. It takes rest under some shady weed when tired out with fun. So, let us have the discussion of latter part of the sonnet, that is sestet. There are 6 lines. In the bitterly cold winter evening, all living creatures have taken shelter for rest, and atmosphere of loneliness and silence prevails. A man is sitting beside the stove, awed by the warmth of fire, and is half asleep. In this semi-conscious state, he hears the cricket's high-pitched notes drifting about in the air and mistakes it for the merry notes of the grasshopper singing gleefully among the hills on a warm midsummer day. So, in this summary, you have got the points, stanza-wise points, and were actually 2 seasons and 2 invisible singers. One is grasshopper in the first stanza, in the first part, and in the second part we have cricket. So, in the first part or octave, we have the description of the season relating to heat and very warmth, scorching sun. But in the next part, we have the discussion of very cold or chilly cold, that's of winter. And winter and summer to contrast to extreme weathers. And even in these extreme weathers, there are singers, and there are not only the singers like birds, the crickets and grasshoppers are also beautiful singers, and they continue the music of the earth. Okay, let's have the summary in Nepali. यो कविता जोन किट्सको एउटा चर्चित 14 हरफे कविता हो। यो कवितामा हामीले फट्याङ्ग्रो र झ्याउगिरीप्रति समर्पण गरेर कविले लेखेको रचना पढ्न पाउँछौँ। यो अङ्ग्रेजी साहित्यका एक चर्चित कवि जोन किट्सद्वारा रचित फट्याङ्ग्रो र झ्याउगिरीप्रति एक 14 हरफे कवितामा कविले प्रकृतिको सदाबहार कवितालाई मुख्य भाव बनाई कविता रचेका छन्। कसरी प्रकृतिको गीत अटुट रूपमा अघि बढिरहन्छ र त्यसको आनन्द सबै ऋतुहरूमा सबैका लागि कसरी बहार बनिरहन्छ भन्ने कुरा यस कवितामा किट्सले प्रश्न पारेका छन्। ग्रीष्म ऋतुमा चराहरू चुप लागे पनि फट्याङ्ग्रोले झाडी झाडीमा उड्दै अनवरत गीत गाउने र शिशिरको सिरेटोमा झ्याउगिरीले कसरी अर्ध निद्रामा भएका मानिसलाई समेत आफ्नो गीतको गुन्जनसँगै आनन्दले तुल्याइरहेको छ भन्ने कुरा कवितामा प्रश्न पारेको छ। यसरी कवि किट्सले फट्याङ्ग्रो र झ्याउगिरीप्रति कविताको माध्यमद्वारा प्रकृतिको स्थिर आनन्ददायी क्षणको प्रतीकात्मक प्रस्तुति दिएका छन्। यस कविताले हामीलाई जस्तो अवस्था भए पनि हामी खुसीले आनन्दित छौँ र यसै प्रवृत्ति मार्फत हामीले जीवनको सारा बाधा व्यवधान र अवरोधहरू सहजै हटाउन सक्छौँ भन्न खोजेका छन्। प्रकृतिसँग सम्बन्धित कविता रचना गर्न 19औं शताब्दीका चाहिँ स्वच्छन्दतावादी कविहरूका जस्तै यस कवितामा कविले प्रकृतिको सङ्गीतको रूपमा फट्याङ्ग्रो र झ्याउगिरीको नजर अन्दाज गरिएको विषयलाई उजागर गरेका छन्। जुन गीत तिनीहरूको झ्याउगिरी र फट्याङ्ग्रोको गीतलाई चाहिँ मान्छेले त्यति मान्दैनथे, तर कविले त्यसलाई चाहिँ धेरै महत्त्वका साथ प्रस्तुत गरेका छन्। लेट्स टक अबाउट द थीम. The theme of the poem is the eternal poetry of nature. Keats describes the way the nature song is continued through all seasons, through the grasshopper and the cricket, so the song never dies. It's about how the sounds of nature never really stop, even after the birds go to sleep. The poem reflects the poet's belief that the beauty of nature never ends. In the summer, the beauty is heard in the grasshopper's call. In the winter, the beauty of nature is shown by the shrill of cricket. The theme here, poetry and music in nature do not perish. Even in the worst climate too, nature is filled with the songs of its creatures. Nature is always alive in its own beauty. Nature is filled with poetry in all seasons. Even in the worst climate too, nature is filled with the song of its creatures. There is always someone to create some music and joy. The poet asserts that no matter what the season is, whether it is summer or the winter, the music and the poetry of the nature is never dead. It's the poem which creates an awareness of the beauty, glory and grandeur of the poem. No, that's the theme of the poem, and let's talk about the analysis. So, the critical analysis of the poem goes here. The poem is about the beauty of nature, celebrating the music of the earth in hot summer and cold winter seasons through the songs of two insects, grasshopper and cricket, two tiny insects performing a big responsibility. They carry on with nature's continuous and everlasting music, irrespective of the extreme climates. The beauty of nature exists forever in summer, when grasshoppers take the lead, and so do the cricket in winter. We will hear the shrill cries of cricket in the winter. They sing songs and all the time and contribute the poetry of earth. On the grasshopper and cricket is a 14 lines Petrarchan moral sonnet with a line scheme of ABBA, ABBA, CDE, CDE. It is written in iambic pentameter and can be divided into an octave and sestet. The first half of the octave deals with the imageries of summer, while the second half deals with the grasshopper. The first half of the sestet deals with the winter, and the second half deals with the cricket. The theme of the poem is that no one is ever alone in the world. There is always a living force working in the nature. The poet uses contradictory tones on the grasshopper and cricket. The rot in silence creates a gloomy and drowsy atmosphere, which is in stark contrast with the summer. As mentioned earlier, John Keats belonged to romantic age of the 19th century, and these romantic poets were escapists. They escaped into the world of imagination and fancy from the world of reality, pain and suffering. In this particular poem, we find Keats asking his readers to concentrate on the music of the tiny insects, which can bring some relief to the earth during extreme conditions with the sweet music they create. The message of the poem is that life goes on in spite of the extreme weather conditions, and there is always someone to create some music and joy which brings us respite and allows us to continue with our life in spite of extreme situations. And at last, overall, John Keats' sonnet on the grasshopper and cricket is a symbolic poem. Here, the grasshopper symbolizes summer, while the cricket symbolizes the cold winter. We can say that the grasshopper and the cricket, two tiny insects, perform big responsibility. They carry on with nature's continuous and everlasting music, irrespective of the extreme climates. The poet has thus personified them. It is thus a symbolic poem. Here, the grasshopper and cricket are a symbol of the constant, joyous mood of nature. The poem teaches us that we shall be joyful and pleasant no matter what are the situations in our life. With this attitude, we can easily overcome all the obstacles in life. The grasshopper and cricket carry on with the nature's persistent music, no matter what the season is or how the atmosphere remains. Though they are two very little insects, they take the big responsibility. That is why the poet has used personification on them by capitalizing their names and using personal pronouns like he and this. This poem is symbolic. The sonnet opens with the poet asserting that poetry of earth, the voice of nature, is always live. Even when all the singing birds are tired in the summer and take shelter under the shady branches of trees, the nature song can still be heard, a voice which runs then from haze to haze around the fleshy grasslands mid its grasshoppers. And the poet repeats the main theme of the sonnet, that the voice of earth never comes to an end. In an isolated winter evening, when frost has put everyone and everything into silent mood, you can still hear the song of cricket coming from the stove. So the chilly atmosphere forces the cricket to seek warmth indoors, but cannot stop his music. Rather, his music gets louder with the time, in warmth increasing ever. To a man who is feeling sleepy, in drowsiness, half lost, the cricket song sounds like grasshopper's voice among some grassy hills. The poet means that people like to feel the warmth of summer even in bleak winter by mistaking the cricket song for the grasshoppers. Okay, that's the end of my today's discussion. John Keats' poem on the grasshopper and cricket. So how did you get it? I am sure you got the points. If you have any queries, please put your ideas in my comment box. Please don't forget to share, subscribe and like my channel. Thank you very much for being with me.